So when it comes to finances, who struggle more, men or women? Today, I would like to share with you key insights that still shape the way we handle money today. I will also explore our relationship or not relationship with money in order to free ourselves from the past and to gain deeper understanding about each other when it comes to financial matters. I grew up in France, obviously, in a small village called Fontenay-sur-Vègre. Both of my parents were entrepreneurs, but they didn't have extensive formal education. 60 years ago, it was the norms. Generation of farmers, minimal schooling, and a simple life. My mother, despite lacking financial expertise, took on the burden to manage the family finances. It was a real challenge for her, and I often heard phrases like, money doesn't go in the trees, or we don't have the Rothschild fortune. You probably never heard this one because it's a French expression. But due to this background, money and finances always fascinated me. But subconsciously, I've never sought to study it. It seems out of reach for the farm girls I once perceived myself. Limiting, right? When I came to Montreal, after traveling around the world, something has shifted in my mind. I felt that everything was possible, that I could do and become whatever I wanted. The true American dream. So I decided to study finances and real estate, and it led me to become a mortgage broker and a financial advisor. I realized that talking about money and finances wasn't so easy for a lot of people, and especially for women, who most of the time felt overwhelmed or misunderstood. Through my research, I also realized that the access to money for women was relatively recent, and especially in Quebec, where women had the same right as men until they get married. Then, depending on their matrimonial regime, they would become the property of their husband as long as the property they inherited if they had some. The first step towards equality for Canadian women was the legalization of the property woman right for married women. It started in Ontario in 1884 and then Manitoba in 1900. But women had to wait until 1964 through the Bill 16 for this to happen in Quebec. And he allowed women not to obey anymore to their husband. And he also gave them the full legal capacity to open a bank account, to find a job, and to dispose of their money without their husband's permission. In France, women had to wait one more year, 1965. 1965. To investigate further, we have to go back in time to the 18th, 19th century. During the industrialization period, men excluded women from the workforce. They were associated with the private sphere, while men dominated the realm of work. This gender-based division lasted for years, with the men using the concept of nature to bind women to the household due to their roles as childbearers. Reformers and wages from this time fought to keep women from entering the workforce, using concepts like family wage. The idea held that the money earned by men was the first primary income source and was not to be touched. In contrary, the money earned by women was seen to be as supplementary, expendable. Thanks God, as society evolved, but depending on your age and where you come from, you may have seen your mother or grandmother raising the kid at home while depending on her husband to provide. But the funny part is a lot of women had to work from home to ensure the financial of the family, while keeping the facade that their husband was the breadwinners. And they also usually did the budget and they had to be really creative in order to make the ends meet each month. So now, in North America and Europe, women have the same right as men, but we still have a way to go when it comes to true equality, independence, and the gender pay gap. As a coach consultant, I've identified 3 case issues that still hold back women from financial success. The first one at hand is about our financial blueprint. Until we question, put in perspective, or see another way of doing or thinking, we will simply replicate what was programmed in our mind by our parents, by school, by any system. We will just replicate what we know. So when you go back to your place at home, I invite you to write down your financial story, your childhood memories. What was money like when you were little? Did your parents argue about money? Did envy shape your behavior? Did your parents argue and get mad about money? What kind of imprint that they had to you, on you? Our past doesn't have to define our financial future. So we have to own our story. Don't be ashamed of your story. Own it to grow from it. In order to change and to be better steward of our money, we need to be aware of it. So it brings me to my second point. Proper financial education. I don't know about you guys, but I didn't receive one of it. So I have to learn on the spot. Now education is available everywhere. It's just a matter of choice. For me, the turning point was to read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. It was really a breakthrough for me, and it gave me a bigger perspective. It showed me the different possibilities, and it really opened my eyes. Also, going to workshop helped me a lot about investment. To understand and to get educated gave me the courage to engage in funds and to make my money grow. Of course, like anybody else, when the market crashes, I can feel the fear. But because I know how it works, it doesn't make me insomniac, insecure. I still function. One of the biggest mistakes people make is to wait to accumulate money to know more about money. But it's the other way around. More you will learn about money, more you will accumulate it. Which brings me to my last point, but not the least, is talking about this subject. A lot of couples avoid talking about money because they're afraid of the conflict it might trigger. But we need to talk about it to ensure our financial future and to avoid future conflict. On one hand, I saw men feeling trapped and pressured because they were the only provider of the household. And on the other hand, I saw men ended up with nothing after a breakup because they've never talked about money, they were not married, but they assumed that everything would be split evenly because they stay at home while their partner were chasing their career. In conclusion, my journey from a small village in France to Montreal had taught me that change is possible, no matter where you come from and what is your background. Financial empowerment is within reach for everybody, but it requires introspection, education, and open conversation. Our past doesn't have to define our future financial. My mother, despite having limited in knowledge, had good habits, and it enabled her to buy my parents a house when they retired. But a better know-how investment would have improved their retirement plan. Change is possible. You have the power to rewrite your own story and to make it happen. So we have to seize control of our financial destiny, break free from the past to create a worse future. Thank you.